The next time your family serves cheese, think about all the Nova Scotians who've worked hard to get the finished product onto your tables. Bring it from its origins, as milk on the dairy farm, to ending up on your table for eating. It all starts with a dairy farmer who follows many food safety and animal care standards. This ensures the milk produced for drinking and for use in cheese production meets the highest standards and tastes amazing. Cheesemaking is an art form. Many specialized people are involved in a detailed process before you get to enjoy a tasty cheese variety. Most of the cheese we buy is made with milk that comes from dairy cattle, like the 115 Holsteins co-owned by fifth-generation dairy farmer Tara Hill McMillan.
On our farm, we produce over 1 million liters of milk a year.
Tara and her family grow most of the feed their cows eat to stay healthy, ensuring the quality of the milk sold to stores and used in cheese production. To make great cheese, you need a base of good-tasting, safe milk.
We have 710 acres of working farmland where we grow forages, being alfalfa, corn, soybeans, winter wheat. We grow about 95% of our feed.
This approach is beneficial on many levels. Tara and her family naturally produce most of their own cattle feed, which helps to keep farm costs down and eliminates the need to have food trucked in for the animals. Tara's family is also dedicated to keeping their farm soil as healthy as possible. This improves the quality of the harvest, the cows' feed, and eventually the milk the animals produce. Good quality milk starts from the ground up. Tara's family farm has won a national award from the Dairy Farmers of Canada for its commitment to sustainability and environmentalism.
In 2012, Charles Hill & Son received a sustainability award which recognized practices which help the environment, which may have included no-till processes or minimal tillage processes which reduce the impact, compaction, fuel usage, maintaining distance from waterways when applying fertilizer. When crops are grown, they leach some nutrients out of the soil, so it's important as a responsible farmer to return that to the soil. So we follow a guided nutrient management plan which tells us what needs to be returned to the soil, whether it be used through fertilizer, through manure spreading, growing different crops which will return certain nutrients to the soil as well. We have a 3-year rotation. We grow 3 years of forages, 2 years of corn, and then 1 year of soybeans, and we keep a rotation in our crops to keep the soil as fertile and in as good condition as we can.
To ensure the highest standards are maintained, Tara and her family have also built a state-of-the-art facility. Their Holsteins are milked robotically. The animals' bedding is spread mechanically without disturbing them. There are internal fans which automatically engage if it's too warm. The windows will close if it's too cold. There are automated manure scrapers which clean the floor. Each cow wears a transponder collar around its neck. The collars monitor the activity and behaviors of each individual cow. They also help to identify them. The collars control which animals are ready to be sent for milking or feeding and resting. All of the dairy farm's technology can be accessed via a smartphone. It's a strong management tool which helps keep the animals as healthy as possible.
Every other day, a transport truck comes in, picks up the milk, transports it to the processing plant where it will be used for cheese, yogurts, fluid milk, creams.
Did you know? There are 200 dairy farms in Nova Scotia. 200 million liters of raw Nova Scotia milk is produced annually. 1.3 million liters of Nova Scotia milk is processed into cheese each year. There are 8 small cheese producers in Nova Scotia. One of Nova Scotia's 8 small cheese producers is Margarita Vandenhoek Field's family. They own and operate That Dutchman's Cheese Farm in Upper Economy. Margarita's parents emigrated from Holland to Canada in 1970. They eventually settled in Nova Scotia, but a decade later, the parents traveled back to their homeland to learn the art of cheesemaking.
So when they went back to Holland, they lived with a woman who had been making Gouda. It was part of her family heritage, and they learned the whole process.
Holland is known for its Gouda and some of the best cheese in the world. And now, so is Nova Scotia, because of cheesemakers like That Dutchman's Cheese Farm. The family has won multiple national awards. Their tangy Dragon's Breath variety has put them on the map.
We produce Gouda, which is what my parents originally started out making, and my father, from that, he developed his own cheese, the Dragon's Breath Blue, which I believe was part of the uprising of the artisan cheese industry.
Cheesemaking has become an innovative business. Cheese consumers have become discerning. Consumers better understand that cheesemaking takes time, the right touch, and a knowledge of chemistry. Yes, you heard that right. Cheese and chemistry go hand in hand. We're not talking test tubes here, but in order to produce award-winning cheese, producers like That Dutchman's Cheese Farm understand and apply principles of chemistry.
Early in the morning, the milk is pasteurized. Pasteurization kills bacteria. To pasteurize, you heat the milk to at least 63 degrees Celsius and hold for at least 30 minutes. And then we lower the temperature of the milk to 29 degrees and add starter. The starter acidifies the milk. After a bit of rest, then we add rennet to the milk and calcium chloride. Calcium chloride helps the firming process of the curd, and the rennet is what firms the curd to make it kind of like a jello-y texture.
The term rennet may sound complicated, but its origins are quite simple, according to Dr. Bruce Rathgeber. Dr. Rathgeber is a researcher, food scientist, and professor at Dalhousie University's agricultural campus in Truro.
So rennet is a term that is used for enzymes that are used in cheese making. Originally, rennet came from calf stomachs. This was the natural enzyme for breaking down milk in animals that consume milk.
Rennet can also come from plants, fungi, and specially produced molds. A lot of cheese is now made by using something called chymosin, which is derived from bacterial sources. Chymosin is an enzyme used for coagulation in the cheese-making process.
The rennet will make it come out of solution and form that solid. So it's a combination of pH and an enzyme that result in creating cheese out of milk. pH is important in cheese manufacture because it is the key feature that influences whether the proteins in milk stay suspended, because milk is a liquid that has dispersed solids in it.
Raising or lowering the pH level impacts a cheese's ability to melt during cooking, its firmness, and other factors. The next time you enjoy cheese, remember your chemistry teacher and people like food scientist Dr. Rathgeber for passing on these important principles to students, our future Nova Scotian cheesemakers.
As pH goes down, you're actually increasing the amount of hydrogen ions that are in solution. And this is important because these impact how other molecules interact with each other. Proteins change the configuration due to the presence of these hydrogen ions. When the pH drops, they actually become less attracted to water and more attracted to each other. And that's what the curdling of milk is really all about.
Now you know that enzymes, pH levels, proteins, and ions are all part of cheesemaking, not just chemistry class. The chemistry of cheesemaking involves enzymes, pH levels, proteins, ions. Once the cheese curds start to form, they're washed with water as the temperature of the mixture is raised. When this happens, something called whey is expelled. Whey is one of the proteins in milk. It's a cloudy liquid that separates from the cheese curds in the Gouda making process at That Dutchman's Cheese Farm.
We add the water to bring the temperature up to 32 degrees, stirring the curds slowly. The curds are shrinking and expelling whey. After it's set to that temperature, it spends a lot of time resting to continue shrinking. The curd shrinks to about the size of peas.
All the little pieces are then compressed together. They're packed into cheese molds with a lid. Each mold is placed under a press. This squeezes out more whey and packs the curds tightly together. It eventually forms a single, large round of cheese.
After it's been pressed, it sits for 24 hours at room temperature or a little cooler. Then it goes into a salt brine, which gives it a hard rind on the outside, which which kind of helps keep its shape.
The completed cheese is brushed with a cream wax 3 times on each side. The coating is porous and allows the cheese to breathe. This also helps the flavor develop over time.
Whether it's the diet from the cows or that there wasn't as much cream or something in the milk, it changes sometimes, or the humidity. We try not to control everything too much. We let the seasons dictate the flavor. Most of our process is based on feel, that you know that the cheese is, like the curd is ready for the next cut, that it's ready for packing. If you need to give it a little more time, it's all done based on the traditional methods that my parents learned from the cheesemaker in Holland.
This is where old world recipes, cutting-edge technology, and chemistry collide. The cheese we enjoy at home and school is crafted as a result of the hard work by our dedicated dairy farmers. The cheesemaker's special touch in recipes, combined with chemistry happening in the vat itself, all supported by the knowledge of food science and research experts. Like everything, cheesemaking is teamwork. It's a blend of sustainable farming practices, good soil and crop management, healthy livestock, a supply of fresh, quality milk, combined with science, time, patience, and practice. It's a winning combination that's elevated our Nova Scotia dairy farmers and cheesemakers to stand among the very best. They have a proven track record of quality, innovation, and dedication to the process, the animals, and the land itself. Remember, most cheese starts from the ground up.